Hey, what's going on? This is the very first podcast with Adam and
Travis.
Travis. And for today's podcast, we want to talk to you guys about something very special. It has to do with God, African Americans, and cops. And all religious people, African Americans, and cops can get pissed at me all they want. But listen to what I have to say before you guys get offensive. And Travis will be able to chime in anytime he wants.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, listen to this. A lot of people in the world, most of us at least, have been to church or know who God is from some form of reason. Correct, Travis?
Correct.
And what would you think the African American community is like? Mostly, well, what are African Americans known for?
Um,
You could say it because we're going to counteract that. What do people normally think that they're known for?
making delicious food.
The bad stuff. Travis, go ahead and say it.
Um,
Most people claim. I'll say it then. Most people claim that African Americans are nothing but delinquents and like to rob and steal and kill and are child neglectors and fathers that don't know how to pay child support. But most of all,
I don't want any of the good things.
I'll get to that. But most of all, cops think that they know what's good for the world and good for the community, so they stop a black person, well, an African American, for no damn reason. And when they say license or registration and you try and reach for it, you get shot in the face or whatever. Now, that's not what I think of when I hear an African American. I hear someone who likes helping the community. See, I don't see color. You may be colored and we may be white. Who knows? Ancestors of ours could have enslaved your ancestors. I will not deny that. I don't know. Maybe my ancestors could have enslaved yours. But since that happened, white people and African Americans have been more what, Travis? More loving towards each other. There's been more African American and white men marrying black African American women, and African American men marrying white women, and
Yep.
just getting along.
Starting families.
African Americans have come so far. They're able to drive cars now. They're able to vote. They're able to do a lot of things after Martin Luther King died. They have been able to do so many good things. Now, yes.
And this, um, or, what is it? I'm trying to think of her name.
Harriet Tubman.
Yep. Her and the whole bus movement thing.
Yeah. Point is, I know a lot of I know exactly why African Americans, some of you have done robbing and stealing and killing. It's because it's not your, well, in that case, it is your fault, but it's your fault for one reason. Because there were a lot of stuff happened to you in the past with family stuff, and I don't want to get into that because I don't know where that is. But the point is, what I'm trying to make is that the topic at hand for this first ever podcast is talking about African Americans, God, and police. Now, a lot of people believe in God. They say God will always be there for us. God hears our prayers. This, and that.
Yep.
God will always stop something from happening if it's wrong. But
True.
What has been happening recently, Travis, after that 18-year-old boy died because of that cop bending on the kid's neck and died? What happened there?
Murder, basically.
And what did the African boy do?
I don't know the whole story. But,
He was doing nothing. He was just walking along.
Yeah.
And they accused him of being someone that he was not. And it's the same thing for like several years now. So that's why there's been Black Lives Matter movements and whatnot. Now here's the thing. I support the Black Lives Matter movement.
I support it too.
The only problem is I don't like when African Americans say Black Lives Matter. And hear me out. Black Lives Matter means only Black Lives Matter. Saying all lives matter means trans, gay, lesbian,
queer.
That's all the same stuff. African Americans and whites, Chinese, all of it. All lives matter means everything. Because gays, blacks, I'm saying this because I don't care. Gays, blacks, and trans people have been getting the worst rap out of everyone. But that's not to say that gays, blacks, and trans people are more important than everyone else. That's why it's all lives matter, not just Black Lives Matter. It's all lives matter. I get when you say Black Lives Matter, it also means all lives matter. Like Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. And a lot of people have been saying that nowadays. Black Lives Matter, all lives matter.
Yep.
But what's the point of saying Black Lives Matter, all lives matter? Just say all lives matter. It means the same thing.
Yeah, it does.
So back to what I was saying. How does God exist? If he can go ahead and let African Americans die on the street, in houses, at stores, on the road, when a cop can just stop